Is the audio so low? I might turn up the audio some on this. Let's see if I go to my channel. What the fuck is this? Alright, let's go to my channel. Should be live right now. Yep, there we go. Alright. Check out the Twitch. Make sure everything's fine there. Did I even click the button? I don't think I did. I think it just started. Alright, let me check the audio real quick. 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. Check the audio real quick. 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. Sounds pretty good. I'm not dropping any frames yet. Yeah, I think streaming during this time when everybody else is asleep is better as well. A lot more people sleeping in the neighborhood isn't clogging up all the fucking wideband because everybody here is old. Wideband, broadband, whatever the fuck it's called, clogging up the internet for the entire service. Okay. Being a degenerate and being up late at night has its benefits, I guess. All right. Cut out the notification again. What the fuck? Live. Right. Yeah, my Twitch and my YouTube is fucking connected. Why doesn't it say what I'm streaming on my fucking Discord thing? It's dumb. Whatever. Oh yeah, I forgot. Got some shit. Oh wait, I need to turn the volume down on this. It's gonna be a little too loud. Probably. This is another. I fucking hate panels. What are they talking? Is it ever right to be prejudiced in the group? Or grounds of discrimination? Threshold for arrest. We'll watch this.
That you are racist.
I'm hoping it's gonna be something not too annoying to listen to.
Okay, and that's okay. This is the stance you have to take.
Throughout the world,
Hold on, I wonder, can I? Let's see. Would it be possible for me to... that looks like trash, though. I need a third monitor bad. It sounds crazy, but I do. Like... Let's figure this out, actually. Two, one. Like, hold up. Can I? Son of a bitch, I have this in full screen, don't I? Fuck! Hold up. I gotta restart the game! No! God damn it, hold on, let's restart it. Restarting the game, give me a sec. Son of a bitch. Running the game in full screen when I'm streaming is full screen? Full screen. I think I said screen, whatever. If running the game in full screen is bad. Because this isn't Phantasy Star isn't one of those games where you can run a game in full screen, but like when you press basically some games when you run in full screen, it acts like borderless windowed, even if it's full screen. And I really like those games because you get the performance lift of full screen, but not the fucking shit where you can't like drag stuff over it and stuff. Luckily, it doesn't take that long to restart the game. Alright, let's try this again. Can I just do this like that and then change the window? Oh. Wait. Let's go! And I can even, hold on, where's the... I think we'll keep it there. That's actually perfect. So I actually can put the picture-in-picture there. And then I can still have the stream and chat. Oh, you love to see it. Can I put the stream and chat? Hold up. Hold the phone. I like... No! God damn it. Fuck. Where is that? Hold on. If only. Man can train at least. Maybe like a mounted that right here. Anyways, alright. If I press the play button.
There are communities and
Perfect. Alright, I optimized it. Optimizing my stream setup a little bit more. Round of applause for Kazino. Let's go. Third screens will make this so much fucking better though. Holy shit. I thought 2 screens would be a little too much, but holy shit. Streaming fucking adds a lot of problems, especially when you're like reacting to shit and playing games at the same time. Anyways,
conflict with each
fuck
other.
it.
This could include Black Americans and the police, Indians and Pakistanis, or Israelis and Palestinians, to name a few. Their troubled history can span centuries, and in that time, a lot of hatred builds up. But is it ever justifiable that one community entertains prejudiced notions against another? After decades of demonstrated bad behavior by a group, is it understandable that some would feel uncomfortable around them, at the very least? And if so, what are the implications for racial and ethnic relations across the globe? So yeah, the question is exactly what it sounds like. Is it ever right to be prejudiced to another group? Does that ever make sense? Is it ever understandable? Or is that just morally completely wrong and there's no logical reason why a person would do that? So we'll I'll do opening statements for this, then we'll get cracking. Let's go.
We can't already say that anymore.
Katie, please.
I forgot.
So you said, is it right? And then you said it's understandable. Of course it is. People do dumb, unreasonable, and illogical, immoral stuff all the time. It's not a good idea. It's not helpful, but humans have a stupid tendency to like divide into groups and categorize quickly because that's just what we do. It's not good and it's not helpful, but it's absolutely understandable. Like if somebody hurts you, it's very normal to then assume that a lot of people that look like that person might hurt you as well. It's not very smart though.
Dylan.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to come out here with a crazy take that's somewhat similar to Katie's. By that I mean it's not radical at all, but you know, I will say that some dynamics between groups can be understandable, and as we know, prejudice against certain groups exists, you know, no matter what. However, when we're talking about whether, on a moral standpoint, whether it's justifiable, for the most part, it's really not. It's pretty immoral to not judge individuals at the individual level, especially when we're dividing them into mutable characteristic groups, which I think is really problematic. So I will say that it's understandable, but of course, it's not morally correct.
Yeah, exactly the same. Is there anybody that's gonna disagree with this take? I'm so curious. Who's gonna be the brave one that's like, you know what? I think actually, if you have a lot of bad experience in the group, you can be racist towards them.
Mr. Girl? All right, you go next then.
Oh, I was just saying, I was trying to build up anticipation. You want me to just do it now?
Yeah.
No fucking game. I hate this. This is why fucking panels suck. You have one person whose mic is in the gutter, so you have to turn your volume up to hear them. But then there's the one asshole who has their mic all the way to the ceiling, so you have to turn it back down again. So like you never get a good listening experience. Fucking audio, people, please. It's not that hard. If I can do it, anybody can. All right, it's simple. God.
Go ahead.
Well, this I guess
The worst part is fucking the person with the lowest mic is Prime K's, who is literally doing the panel, hosting the panel, and whose job is streaming and shit like that. And he has trash audio. I hate it.
My take is that there's an overlap between these two. That it's not just that, like, we know prejudice is wrong, so we don't have it. Or if we know it's wrong, then we won't have it. Or then we won't be able to act on it. Or acting on it is wrong, but having it is understandable. I feel like there's it's like a spectrum. So it reminds me of an argument I got in with this black professor, I guess black studies professor, where we argued for half an hour about whether it's true that it's safer if you cross the street when you see a black person coming, as opposed to if there's a white person on one side and a black person on the other side. Is it safer? Are you safer from the likelihood of crime happening to you if you cross the street to go on the same side as a white person? So my argument was, statistically, obviously that's true, but it's also immoral to do that. So you have to do this dance of, like, how much are you going to allow statistical knowledge of a group's behavior affect how you view one person in that group? And I think that choice between safety and morality is kind of the conflict that there always is with this topic.
On.
Please. Make this guy move over. Bring him over here, please.
Surface level.
Come on, over here.
Yes. Statistically, if you're looking at the statistics.
My God, war cry is trash. I hate it. Why do we even have this shit?
No further information either other than statistically, black people are imprisoned and commit more crime than white people in America, right? So, but that is ignoring the entire nuance behind exactly why that is. Because
well, if someone's gonna mug you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why they're gonna mug. Like when it comes to a raw, self-protective moment, it's like birds learning not to eat like certain frogs. So like that. If it's pure self-protection, which is the hypothetical, which are you safer doing? It's not which are you more racist doing. You're more racist if you cross the street. But what keeps you safer? And a lot of times prejudice and racism.
So we are still in opening statements. You can respond to her as soon as we're done. All right, Mr. Girl.
Well, you let her respond to me, but okay, whatever.
But no,
I believe you were done. Sorry, if you were not finished.
Well, your statement was a response to my statement.
Yeah, I know. But this is still opening statements.
Yeah,
don't worry.
I know.
Okay.
You totally should have stopped her. I understand.
Totally should have.
I completely agree. Okay. That was super out of line.
Okay. Well, I just believe that the reason why my opening statement was skipped because I totally agree with basically the first thing that Kate said was that's exactly how I feel. But yes, I would also say that building on this circumstance, I would probably cross the road if it was dark and at night, and if there was a man walking towards me.
I was gonna give that example.
I would probably do that. If there was a woman walking towards me, I might not cross the road. If there was a man walking towards me, I probably would. So I'm not saying that it is like, I wouldn't say like, oh, then that means that I'm sexist. I don't think that crossing the road because you see someone coming at you as a potential threat is necessarily racist. But if you're saying
this is continuously a response to what I said, am I allowed to push back?
I promise you, you're going to be able to when we get to when we open it up.
I know, but why is she allowed to respond to me, but I'm not allowed to respond
Sometimes
to her?
People respond to each other in the intros.
Fine. The next time I want to go fucking last.
Okay. No problem. All right.
And when he goes last, I want to respond to him.
Okay, good.
then we'll be in a place where we can both respond to each other.
Vaughn, are you done?
Yes, it was an opening statement. I was almost done, and then I got interrupted, so I felt like I needed to start again. So.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Let's go to GSU Gang.
Yeah. So I'm from a pretty bad area. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with people having prejudice, and I want to explain this more. I think the examples that have been given are, people seem to be afraid to say that, but I don't think they should be. But so I think that if, like in the hood, we call it street smarts. You have to know where you are, and acting on that knowledge of knowing where you are, I don't think there's anything bad about it. For instance, I act differently around police in Atlanta than I do police in my hometown, and that's because sometimes these police officers have different ideologies and they aren't actually your friends, right? And they're just trying to imprison black people in some cases. Not all police at all, not even most police, but in certain areas we have to understand the ideologies around us. When I lived in Florida and I was around Trump rallies, I knew that this wasn't a place that I should frequent because of like the same amount of data that we would have to support some of the violence that happened in Florida. So I don't think there's anything wrong with prejudice. I think there is a problem if you never test your prejudice though. So there are certain situations where I've been in where I want to see if my like innate feelings are going to be realized. And you could say in those cases, I put myself in somewhat of danger, but I think in order to update your internal model, that's smart to do. So there are times where I suspend my prejudice and I go into otherwise what I would see as risky situations to see how these things play out. And generally speaking, it doesn't play out negatively. I haven't had a chance where I was like testing something and it played out negatively. So I think it's okay to be prejudiced. I think if you're a person that never attempts to validate your prejudicial feelings against a group, then that's a bit bigoted, and that's maybe where it becomes more racist. But generally speaking, I don't think there's a problem with prejudice.
Okay. Normally go to Pisco next and Pisco.
Yeah, the art of human experience, of making rules, of giving advice, that is, in essence, discrimination. Of course, a balance needs to be struck. That's a fatuous and boring thing to say if one were to say that. The question entailed by this is, what is that balance and what should shape that balance? If you make a rule that says only people of a certain visual acuity are able to drive, you're discriminating against people who can't see as well. If you are casting a part for Scarlett O'Hara and you're only trying to cast from a group of people who are femme presenting, that is discriminatory. The question is, on what grounds and in what cases are those kinds of categories acceptable? I think for the most part, categories on the basis of race, for instance, of oftentimes on religion, national origin, immigration status, most of the time don't make sense. I would never, for instance, justify a policy of arbitrary detention just because there's a history of a certain group in a given country doing terroristic acts, even notwithstanding some statistical proclivity of a given group, because the costs associated with doing so are so high. And so in this question, the interesting aspects are not sort of establishing that there is a balance to be struck, but what grounds do we generally consider discrimination to be unacceptable, and on what grounds is discrimination acceptable?
Okay. So, I mean, I think we can all think of cases where racial prejudice has been used to build and kill political movements. So pragmatically, it might be a justifiable way to get a politician into office. The political goals we intend to reach by getting that politician in office are important enough. Right, so this could be a viable avenue. So I don't think it's reasonable to just throw it off the table entirely because we consider it moral. Also, like, just on the Arab and Israeli thing, if an Arab Palestinian has spent their entire lives living under like brutal oppression by the Israeli ethno-state, which has a law that explicitly outlines that the right to exercise national self-determination in Israel is unique to the Jewish people, that is in their law, is it wrong to harbor racial prejudice toward Israeli Jews? Would we tell that Palestinian that it's wrong to point at that group as a whole and say, hey, fuck you for doing this to me? And when we know that the vast majority of Jews, I think it's like 90-some% of Israeli Jews are Zionists and want this state to exist in some form, right? And we can pull up stats in New York right now and find that the people who commit around 90% of the rapes and murders in that state every year, going back decades, are Black and Hispanic. That is just the case, right? Whites and Asians combined account for less than 20% of that in a given year, right? So can we really fault a white woman alone in Central Park at night for being a little more scared when she sees a black guy walking toward her? I think we can all agree that we should try to avoid prejudice. We should try to avoid racial animosity, right? But when we have stats like this 90% stat in New York, or the fact of Israel's nation-state laws, I think it's reasonable and I think it's justifiable for some people to protect themselves, to form political movements, to build support for an idea. I think
I dodged that.
Latching onto that prejudice, being aware of that prejudice and the reasons that prejudice exists, I think it's totally viable, and I don't think we should dismiss it outright because we might think that it's moral.
All right, I'll bring you up to down.
The problem, of course, with what Doobie is saying is that he's,
Wait, that.
I think, suggesting that there's some legitimacy to enacting some public policy on behalf of mere statistical correlation between a given race and some kind of bad action. Is that what you're suggesting? That there's something, policy-wise that we're able to glean from these stats?
I mean, in the case of New York, right? Yeah, I think policy-wise, we could look at the stop and frisk program, right? Disproportionately, blacks and Hispanics were checked, but also these people are responsible for 90% of the race and murders in that state. Right? So I think it might make sense to check those people more often if you're a cop who's looking for people who might be involved in that kind of activity.
So suppose that you had the opportunity and you were president of New York, the supreme overlord of New York. Do you think, for instance, it would make sense to have a lower standard for arrests or for a search of someone merely because of their, racial background? That would make sense.
No, I don't think that would make
Why
sense.
would it not make sense?
But I wouldn't fault a police officer. Right?
Well, no, Wait, hold on. I'm asking about policy, and I
understand. Why. Well, I think there's policy in the.
Okay, this is what I don't like. If you're gonna spew this is the Jordan Peterson type thing, where you name or you say a bunch of claims that obviously lead to a certain outcome, and then when someone calls you out on that and fucking says that, oh, okay, so would you want to do this based on literally everything you've been saying for the past 5 minutes? Oh no, I wouldn't go that far. Then why say any of it? Just shut the fuck up then. You don't actually believe what you're saying. You just want to be edgy online. It's so dumb.
New York now that would say that there can't be any kind of racial prejudice in police searches, right? So if there's an indication that a cop is checking the person specifically because they're black, right? They're double checking this person because they're black or because they're brown, right? This cop would get into trouble. I don't think that should be the case, given that 90% of these types of crime in New York are committed by this group, which is a very small minority within the state.
Right, so I'll direct you to the question once more, which is, would you make on the basis of these statistics, would you make it a lower threshold? If you had control, you can change the law. There's a little thing called equal protection clause, but suppose you could change it. On the basis of those stats, wouldn't it make sense, using your logic, to lower the threshold for searches and arrests in the state of New York?
Yeah. That's why I brought up stop and frisk, right? Like I said, blacks and
you're in favor of such a policy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the reality is what it is, right? 90% of these crimes are committed by blacks and Hispanics in that state.
So
why would we be checking? Why should the cops be checking every Asian dude's pockets? Right? This is where the problem is. So we go to where the problem is.
Answer the male question. So a lower standard for searches and arrests for men across the board.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so
and then lower standards for young.
Wait, Doobie, does this apply to other demographics too that might be predisposed to committing more crimes? And if so, are there certain metrics we can use for say a poor person? Because poor people disproportionately commit more crimes, right? And it just so happens to be the case that a lot of the time that you see these minority demographics being poor, right? So if I saw a guy driving around a beater Honda Civic from 1997, would that give me would that justify me being able to go and search his car because disproportionately poor people commit more crime and he looks poor to me?
Well, no, but I mean, this is
Well,
kind of
then
the
why doesn't
reason.
that
Wait, one
apply
second.
with black
So this is
people?
kind of the reason that poor communities tend to have a greater police presence, right? Because that is where the crime is, and we understand that that's where the crime is. So because that's where the crime is and that's where the gangs are, we have more police patrolling up and down the street. And
said
that's why they
no.
arrest more people in these communities. Right, so it's not just that this specific dude looks poor. It's that we know that there's an issue in these poor communities with crime and gangs and violence and drugs. So we go where the problem is. I don't really.
So we should basically pass policies that say, no, if you're poor and poor people commit more crime, we can't search you on that. If you're black who commits more crimes, we can just be suspicious of you because you're black.
Like I said, I don't think we should say, "Oh, I'm suspicious of you because you're black." I don't think that should be the case. But if there's an indication that a cop specifically selected to stop and frisk a person because they're black and Hispanic,
Okay, so
right?
they pushed him on it, so he's like,
Why? I mean, you just
no.
said you'd be okay with.
He just doesn't want to like own it completely. He wants to say it without saying it. I don't know. Just say that people should be more suspicious of black people because they're black. You're dumb and you're racist, but just own what you're saying. I would at least like respect you more. I don't know. I just don't like it.
The lower threshold for searches and arrests. Why shouldn't that threshold be if I just feel like it?
Yeah, not just that, but why does that apply to like poor people? Like if I see someone who looks poor to me, what's the difference between that and a black person?
Wait, hold on. I just told you this is currently what we do, right? So maybe it's not specifically outlined that because this area is poor and these people are poor, we're going to expect them to be committing more crimes. But we know that this is where the crime is, and this is why these communities tend to be quote unquote over policed.
Yeah, but we're talking about stop and frisk, right?
And the basis is not race. The basis there is crime level, and it's associated with race, but the basis is not race. It would be an unconstitutional thing for police to say, we have a policy of enforcing laws more strictly, openly against black people. You know, it would be hard to prove that, just so you know, but that's not the basis under which these searches and arrests and increased patrols are happening. And so what you're talking about is a correlation, and we're not sort of purposely, or at least the supposed reason is not to purposely search black people more.
Yeah, can I interject?
Katie, please.
I was just about to say this. So when you prompted this topic, Prime, I went and Googled prejudice. And the first thing that came up on Google was like preconceived notions without reason, something of the sort. I think when something is a statistical variable, that's not having prejudice. If there's a statistical likelihood that men are assaulting women more than women assault women, me being wary about men, it's not me having a prejudice around men. It's
I think
reasonable.
the prejudice is when you project that awareness of the group onto an individual.
So what I was gonna say is that that when those statistical occurrences happen, or when there are reasonable ways to assume something, we then extrapolate it to immutable characteristics. So to say that 90% of rapists are black and Hispanics in New York is a statistical, I assume it's correct, but that doesn't mean things about black or Hispanic people. Like Fawn said that earlier too. Like there are circumstances that lead to these things. The statistic is not that way because they're black. It's because there are circumstances that drive that statistic.
Mr. Girl's point is that you can't use this statistical data to say the person in front of you may be a person that may rape you, and that's what the prejudice actually does exist.
Well, I would say you
I
can
think
use it
that
to
you
do that.
can't.
I think you can use it to do that, but I think that you're also doing something a bit immoral. So if somebody gives you a bowl of Skittles and says, hey, the yellow ones are 5 times more likely to kill you. But, you're not going to just take a big handful of them. The first thing you're going to do is sort out all the yellow ones. But that's because they're not people. So if you're doing that to people, then you have to balance it with, I
mean, I wouldn't touch the bowl at all, to be honest. You're telling me the yellow ones are 5 times more likely to kill you? Wait, so you're telling me that, all of them can kill me, but the yellow ones are just especially dangerous? That's how I'm taking it. I'm just not touching the Skittles at all, to be honest. What the fuck?
if black people committed a murder every single day all of them without fail, then I think we would all agree that it's like, okay, I guess we're going to start policing black people more severely, I guess, because it's 100%. And then I think more racist people are going to say, well, who fucking cares? Even if it's slightly more, then we should keep an eye on them, follow them around, and stop and frisk them. And then more progressive people are going to say, you know what? They might commit more crime, might be a little more dangerous, but I'm willing to live with that in exchange for equality and freedom, because that's what I believe.
So, very quickly, I'm going to finish what I was going to say. So, it's fine that there are statistics, and what individuals choose to do, if me and Fawn choose to go to the other side of the street because it's night and there's a dude there, that's individual choices. That does not mean that I would support policies that enforce then like segregating men and women to different sides of the street. So individual choices are not the same as like policy making.
I mean, with a hiring decision by a private company, that would be a personal choice too, wouldn't it?
No.
You think? Can I ask that question?
Hold on. Before you even get there, Kaden, I see your hand, Fawn. Before you and there, I see your hand, Doobie and PSU. Before you even get there, but those individual choices have consequences, right? So that's kind of where I want to go with this question. Maybe I didn't say a word clear enough for you. But like you're saying, well, yeah, it's an individual choice that I go to another side of the street. That one is like less, like the consequences of that are pretty tiny. But like, what about there was that woman in Central Park who a black man approached her because she had her dog off a leash, right? Yeah, right?
Yeah,
and
so
she called
I agree
the cops,
with you, right?
And she called the cops, right? And she said, he's threatening me, he's trying to kill me, right? That's the other side of that. So that's the prejudice having consequences that could have been deadly. He could have died because
So I agree with you.
Well, to be clear,
that's a more interesting part of that question.
But to be
right?
clear, so his behavior made what she did, I think, justifiable. Because he was acting like a fucking creep.
Forget about the individual.
If you read his Facebook post,
Wait,
right,
hold on,
he
real
breaks
quick.
down
We
how
shouldn't get into the specifics of the story because we're sidetracking. I understand what you're saying, though, Doobie. That guy was a creep. It was way different than how it's presented, but we should agree.
Okay. So I agree with you that that's a much more interesting part to like focus on, but we went straight into like policy making, and that was the specific one, right? I'm much more interested in talking about the lady at the park than about whether stop and frisk was legitimate, because it wasn't.
I'm afraid it's not limited to policy decisions on a governmental level. Think about racial covenants, for instance, or the practice of racial discriminatory hiring. Those are actions that could be properly construed as like individual choices, but they're still subject to public scrutiny, and for us to criticize them and for us to really think about whether it's justified for private actors.
And that's a much more a gray area that we can discuss thoroughly. That is not on the same level as like New York deciding to make an official police policy to stop and frisk.
Perhaps
it's just not the same.
But we can't like just pretend just because it's a quote individual choice that somehow it's outside the realm of scrutiny.
Yeah,
and I'm not pretending to do that either. I think that lady in the park and a person in government doing choices that are making choices that are affecting people because they're prejudiced are different, but both can be discussed and both have moral implications.
I think the reason why we're trying to draw a parallel between these two is because it's kind of inconceivable that you would have a society where we said, okay, everybody is allowed to individually be racist, but we can't have any racist policies. I think that's like the disconnect. So even though they are fundamentally different actions, if you're selling that on an individual level, it is going to filter through either legislatively or at least to companies.
So that is, I get that's how that sounds. I thought it was very clear from how I started that I don't think individuals should act in racist ways. I force myself to stay on the same side of the street when there's a guy at night because I don't want to act in that way, because I think it's not fair to the guy, even though I probably should cross the street. So I don't exempt.
Honestly, oh boy. Should you cross the street? Probably. It doesn't even matter if it's a girl or a man or white or black, Asian, whatever the fuck. If you just want to be safe, even if it hurts the other person's feelings, honestly, cross the fucking street. Especially if you're in like a pretty bad neighborhood, like in the like the projects in like New York or something, or like fucking Compton. I don't know. Like just cross the street if you're trying to be completely safe. If you choose, but like if you can't, just I don't know, be cautious. Because to be perfectly honest, I'm a dude. I'm in Baltimore. I don't fucking feel safe when I'm walking outside. And most men don't either. They're just fucking lying to you. This idea that like men feel completely safe when they're like outside walking by themselves is just fucking wrong, all right? And if you do feel safe as a man walking out in like a city by yourself, you're just dumb. You shouldn't feel safe. You should be cautious. You should be looking behind your back, making sure nobody's following you and like nobody's scoping you out to rob you, because people will fucking rob you in broad daylight sometimes, because that shit happened to me. I got fucking robbed in broad daylight in front of like 5 people, okay? Like, you're not safe just because you're a dude, and you're not safe just because you're big and burly, okay? There's a reason why they call guns the great equalizer, because strength nowadays doesn't really matter, all right? In the era where we have firearms, it doesn't matter if you're as big as the fucking, like, The Rock or, like, Brock Lesnar, okay? 1 bullet to the head and you're gonzo. Like, you shouldn't feel safe as a dude walking outside but by yourself. It's just dumb. But, whatever.
Exempt individuals from making shitty, racist, or discriminatory choices, but it's also...
you don't fault?
Not the same.
So
what?
You don't fault people for racial discriminatory choices?
No. She says she
I
don't.
do. Sorry.
Okay, you do fault. Sorry, my bad.
Let's go to Fawn and GSU. Mr. Go, do you have any previously? Not sure.
Yeah.
So we'll go to, all right, then. We'll go to Fawn, Mr. Grill, GSU, Dylan.
I just wanted to quickly point out something that was mentioned in chat a while ago about the... I don't know if it has I think it has relevance. There's statistics from the FBI saying that nationally 67% of rapes are committed by white people.
So the reason why we look at these
people.
stats, yeah, we have to look at the per capita basis. So for instance, let's say that like 50% of rapes were committed by one group, and there's 10 of those people, and then 50% of rapes were committed by another group, and there's 10 million of those people. Well, if there's only like 5 of those 10 million people committing rapes, but if there's 5 of the 10 people committing rapes, you're probably going to be more likely to be aware about those 5 of the 10. So even if the absolute percentage is bigger in one group, if the per capita or the relative is smaller, that's usually how people are making decisions. I don't know if that makes sense.
I just wanted to bring attention to that. I agree.
Yeah, white people are very bad things.
I mean, still, Destiny, you know that when we're talking about a per capita demographic, right, white people account for the majority of America still.
That's what you just said.
Yeah?
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Girl, I'd cross the street if you were... No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Girl, go ahead, please.
All right. We're going to do this urgent quest. I need to focus, so I'm going to turn that off until we kill this boss. I'm going to start out with sword before I switch to knuckles. You know what? I might just do sword until fucking the last part, honestly. It's easier to counter with sword. How do you... Okay, it's not aiming at me. Oh no. Ow. Okay, what are the hitboxes on that? I tried to parry it, and it looked like it hit me, but it's so fucking... I think it's like right in the dead center, where you like actually get hit. Oh. It's running away. It's too far away. Oh, come on. That still hit me? Do we have that? No, we don't. Alright. What? Hold on. Let's try out. Oh, there we go. Oh, where'd my health bar go? We can stay still for a little bit longer. I definitely parried that. A little tilted above that one. I hate that you can't, like, the fighter parry takes a little bit longer to start versus the sword one. At least I'm pretty sure it does. Seems like it. Oh, I'm so mad. Oh, he run away. Took over that. halfway done. Ow. I can't. It's hard to counter when you can't see the missiles coming. Nice. Oh. We are kind of stun locking this boss a little bit. Alright, we're just gonna spam until we get to full. Oh, no. Start the gauge one. I can't see. I might need to go sword on the counters on this. It's just hard to beat sword with how good the counters are on it, to be honest. Like, New Genesis has a problem, and it's that they made the perfect weapon. It has amazing down damage, amazing counters, amazing survivability. Very good on PP, photon point, retention, things like that. Wait, what? You got a physical down instead of a crit? And it actually gains photon blast pretty fast as well. Because usually by now, I think I would have 2 photon blasts. I just like using fighter because it's fun. God damn it. There we go. Boss dead. And trash loot. Crash loot again, as always. Crash loot is always.
I think that you kind of have to make a decision here. I don't think you can be really hands off. We're saying that police have the leeway to decide who to investigate based on how they feel. So if the police feels that you look suspicious or doing something suspicious, they can investigate you. And then there's prosecutorial discretion. The DA might feel like dropping your case. The judge might feel like sentencing you. The jury might feel a certain way about you. All of those steps can have prejudice or racism built into them. So it doesn't make too much sense to say you're okay with all of that, but you wouldn't be okay with just putting it in the law and saying, well, we should just investigate black people more. And in a way, that would just be more honest and direct. And I think if you're not okay with people getting investigated or sentenced longer or charged more because they're black, then I do think you kind of have to do something to try to stop that.
Of course, that's a ridiculous and ignorant thing to say. We would not be, just because we have discretion someplace in the area of criminal law does not mean that we are tolerant of racist exercises of that discretion. And just because it happens to be the case that some of that seeps into our systems with or without conscious choice does not mean that we should allow active and flagrant uses of racist policies. And so I don't know what you mean. Just because racism exists, we must tolerate its most explicit form?
No, I think I was saying the opposite of what you're saying.
Okay, then I'm not understanding.
Okay, well, let me explain. If you have cops that are so racist that they are only targeting black people, for example, and rampant people getting locked up for crimes they didn't commit, sentenced for outrageous amounts of time, I think that it makes sense to address that with a policy aimed at preventing that from happening. To me, allowing it to happen is the same as enacting a policy that says it should happen, in effect.
Oh, I see. So you're not in favor of what, I'm sorry then, I was conflating you with Doobie's position, which was that we should...
I'm a Jew, so...
Okay, so you're not in favor of...
When the
it sounded to me like
start locking people up because they feel like it, it makes me personally uncomfortable, but also I care about my black brothers and sisters too.
To be clear, you would be against any law sort of institutionalizing or making formal what already happens with respect to racism and policies. You'd be against what Doobie said he was for.
I am against laws that say it's okay to over-police black people, as I believe they are currently over-policed, yes.
And you made what I was trying to say, basically. There's obviously there's like personal responsibility, but we can't institutionalize racist shit. It doesn't make sense.
But on
So I got a question to ask everyone here really quick.
Fine. JSU, then Dylan.
Yeah, so a lot of these things that y'all are talking about are kind of sort of all in a mixed bag in what happens in society. So the reason why I completely object to what Doobie was saying was because discriminatory policing is how you remain with these stereotypes in place. So I think during stop and frisk, and somebody quote me on this one wrong, but the percentage of time that they found contraband or violations during stop and frisk with black people was less. I'm pretty sure that's like empirical.
Yeah, real quick, just to factually to back up what you're saying. So the problem with the stop and frisk stuff and the disproportionate like lowering the threshold for pulling over like black people or Hispanic people in the past is that as they've done those lower thresholds, the hit rates are not improving at all. So it seems like even when they engage in discriminatory behavior, the hit rate falls, which would mean that the discriminatory behavior is probably unjustified. Now that's a factual argument that I think is separate from our philosophical discussion, but to ground it in reality, the discrimination doesn't seem to be helping. Copying doesn't help.
Yeah. So and that's what I'm saying. So all of these things get mixed together because, and I appreciate what Mr. Girl said.
Maybe.
The other thing that people don't look at is when we look at these per capita stats. I agree that a lot of them look really bad, but we don't get the stats for things that either didn't go to trial or people that didn't get arrested and all of these things. Like for instance, when I was in college, I was in the car with one of my white friends. We were completely drunk and it was late at night. and we got stopped by the police. Luckily, he was driving and I wasn't driving. He was driving, and the cop that stopped us knew his dad was the sheriff, so we completely got off, right? But if I would have been driving, I wouldn't have had that luxury, right? Because that inbuilt prejudice in the system from like in groups, I wouldn't get that treatment. So
well, maybe if your dad was a sheriff, you might have. But I think that's part of.
it's
I think that's part of the.
It's less
Yeah, it
likely
is. I
that
think
we
that's
would
part
be
of what's-
connected in that way.
That's what makes it hard to talk about racism is that you'll never know. You'll never know what would have happened if you'd been
Well,
driving
we
with
do
your
know
dad's
it.
sheriff or not.
We-
All
Hold on. We do know that I am less likely to be as connected as somebody white, as being a part of the algorithm.
Sure.
Can
Yes,
I-
for sure. I'm
Yeah,
just saying that
sure.
it makes it a little more amorphous, because you don't know for sure. But I think that in a way that almost makes it worse.
We do know that we can look at personal relationships of police officers in lots of communities and say that it's empirically true that Black people don't have as many connections to the police in most of the areas, even the areas that Black people live in. Predominantly, they don't have more connections to the police than others. That's empirical.
Yeah, so can I ask? So it is true that Blacks and Hispanics were disproportionately hit by stop and frisk, right? And that the hit rate was lower. I think it was like 12%. But I think that given that like crime to some extent like driven by poverty, and Blacks and Hispanics are more likely to live in high poverty areas. If you have a hot spot where you have high crime, high poverty, way more likely that the people living there are going to be Black and Hispanics. So you're going to get a much higher hit rate with those kind of people, right? But that doesn't really take into account the cool down effect, right? So if you have a hot spot and they know that the cops are coming around checking everybody's pockets for guns, for drugs, whatever the fuck, right? A lot of people are going to stop carrying that shit around, because they don't want to get randomly stopped by the cops and go to jail for it, right? And this is why I think we can look at the stats and show that there was a reduction in crime rate in a lot of these areas, right? That benefited these communities. So it's not so stop and frisk was not like just bad across the board. Yeah, more Black and Hispanic people were stopped. That's because they live in the high crime areas that need to stop and frisk.
Well, what's bad is the explicit racial targeting of people on the basis of their race. And that's something you said that you are in support of. You're okay with lowering the standard for searches and arrests on people just because they're Black. You said that explicitly. And so when you have, okay, maybe it's as an incidence of searching in poor areas, you get more Black people, more Hispanic people. But you said that explicitly it's okay if that basis and judgment is made solely on the basis of race.
Wait, hold on. I think you're
You also said you shouldn't do that with poor people when you talk to Dylan.
I think you're
You just
intentionally
said it.
misunderstanding what I said.
Hold on. I just want to correct a very false statement because I don't like when people make false statements. There is no indication that stop and frisk reduce crime overall. It only reduced crime in situations where there was probable cause. When it was just based off the people being Black or whatever, the additional use of stop and frisk almost made no difference. The additional use of stop and frisk almost made no difference. The stops only had a detectable impact on crime when the stops were based on probable cause, and these kinds of stops were very rare. So
And of course, probable cause, you wouldn't need a lower threshold for that anyway. It's
Exactly. That's the point.
Let's go to Blake.
Yeah. So I guess what we're all talking about here is kind of the next part I wanted to ask everyone here about, which is how do we feel about the implicit nature of discrimination and how it affects society, right? Because there's certain things we cannot prove, like whether someone was actively being discriminatory against someone else or not, right? So, like, I think on an individual level, and I guess this is my quick take, right, is on an individual level, what Kate and Fawn were saying about crossing the street, when you have to make that kind of individual utility calculation for your own safety at night, something like being mildly prejudiced might be, helpful. But I think with the laws we have that are anti-discrimination, like the Civil Rights Act, things like that, those things help prevent discrimination. However, what we're talking about here is kind of the interplay between
we're switching games.
Personal implicit biases and legal biases as well, which is why I wanted to hear kind of chat or everyone here's take on this, because I feel like that's more of the pressing issue.
So I think one of the easy examples of this is the Black sounding name, right? I think there's a large experiment that was done on whether people with Black sounding names got less callbacks even for the same qualifications and stuff. And it was overwhelmingly that Black sounding names is the easiest way to not get called back in an interview. So that's a place, and I think Destiny brought this up earlier, but or maybe it was Pisco, but that's a place where those implicit biases, personal choices can have systemic impacts, even though in the act that's one individual, but across the broader society, it can be impactful to a
But
whole
are we
entire race.
saying they're implicit biases? Like most people, unless they're complete assholes, are not being racist on person. You can make a lot of shitty, racist, discriminatory choices because you have implicit biases driving you to those behaviors. Most people that toss out a resume, I'm not gonna say most people. I assume a significant amount of people that toss out a resume that has a black sounding name do not think, oh, a black guy, I don't want that. You know, it's just
I think they
because it's
might.
a black sounding name, they
Wait.
attribute a lot of negative qualities to it, and then they look at two similar resumes and they determine the white sounding name to just be a better candidate.
That's
That's
my
what
entire
implicit
point.
biases are.
So
that's my
expanding on what
entire
Kate
point.
said. Yeah, okay, wait. So expanding on what Kate said, though, I think it's important to note that if we're looking at two resumes side by side, we have a small sample group to look at here, right? How would we be able to determine whether someone's being racist or not, you know, based on other variables and factors, right? So someone might go into an interview and this person might just gel more like properly with the boss, you know, they might have similar personalities, whether or not that's related to individual experiences, right? Just that you have two white guys.
It's
with
really,
similar
really, really,
things, right?
really
But
hard.
Nobody
Right,
is
exactly.
saying
That's
that.
what I'm saying, right?
Wait, but nobody is saying that we're gonna be able to look at each individual interaction to determine if there was some prejudice or racism at play. But what we can do is collect data across all of these interactions and see if there's systemic bias. That's my
Right,
point.
right. So my broader point is, how do we find a solution for those problems? If these individual case-by-case bases we can't push too hard on, but we can't be too lenient on because there might be some racism going on, there might not be some racism going on. How do we actually solve the problem pragmatically? We're talking about policy. I obviously thought the good way to start was with something like, again, the Civil Rights Act, non-discriminatory policies, right? But how do we expand on it from there? Kate, I heard you wanted to get in there. You get in there.
Thank you. Gambit, I'm sorry if I misunderstood you. When you
I'm definitely not reacting to that while playing Soul Calibur. That's just not happening. Oh, look, it's Kara. Time no see, buddy. Have we ever fought before?
I've had enough of your battle. One, fight.
Oh no! All right. Nice. Oh my god, this guy! You what?
Battle three, fight.
Oh my lord. I hate this guy! He whiffs a 1B into a fucking... Okay. Stop mashing, please. Stop it. Wait, that combos? That's crazy. There we go. First round goes to me. Let's go.
Battle 1. Fight.
Holy shit, this guy's good at that. Nope. That reaches far enough, baby. Let's go.
Battle 2. Fight.
Nice. Smart. I tech that. That's BS. Why does he keep doing that? I want an AGA, but we take those too, I guess. Your opponent can't read you if you fuck up your own inputs. Nope. Huh. Alright.
Battle 4. Fight.
If he wins this, he's. Oh wait, no. He will bar. Get out the fucking air! Got him. Let's go. Ah.
Battle 1. Fight.
Out. Stop it.
Battle 2. Fight.
Nope. No, 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 no. Not in my house. I tried to jump! I'm so mad! Nope. Get fucked.
Battle 1. Fight.
Just run up 2-2K? Nope.
Battle 2. Fight.
Out. Oh my god. The damage she gets on those
Battle 3.
is insane. Fuck. Oh my god. There we go.
Battle 4. Fight.
Nice. Got him. I tried to punish that with AGA. That is minus 16, right? Can Nightmare punish that with AGA? I'm pretty sure you can, right?
Battle 1. Fight.
I want it, but I was gonna get punished there anyways. Oh my god. Tech again. Goodbye. Oh my god. Got him.
Battle 2. Fight.
I never do that, so I'm actually surprised he ducked there.
Battle 3. Fight.
What is the auto GI? I'm not. I forgot. I have to duck there. That is one brave fucking. It is one brave walk up fucking T2B. Nice. I hate this guy. The wake up CE. Oh my lord. Alright. Alright, I'll give you that.
Battle 1. Fight!
Oh my god! The smashing. Okay. I need to GI more. I hate you. I could have just quit mashing on me. I have armor. Respect it. Oh my god. Yeah. I hate my life. I didn't want that. Oh my god, AGA, please. Oh my lord. Okay. These low grabs. Alright, he has nothing to fight against with. Are you fucking kidding me? Right now! Alright, I'm getting tilted. I'm playing horribly now. I'm getting tilted and I'm playing horribly. I got really mad about that fucking lethal, I mean, not lethal hit, the unblockable attack that he got, and I just fucking saw red. God damn it. I mean, you gotta come to me, bro.
Battle 2. Fight!
God! Why is that move so good against my character?
Battle 3. Fight!
Oh my god. My AGAs need to be better. Oh. I failed my AGA, but you know what? It worked. Stop doing that, please. It doesn't work on that. No. I'm not scared anymore. Fuck you. I am bullying my way in when I want to. Fuck that. Get fucked.
Battle 2. Fight. Fight.
Alrighty. I fucking saw that one coming a mile away.
Battle 1. Fight.
Oh, fuck. What? She had enough time to. I'm so dumb. Alright. I guess I gotta respect his Oki, I guess.
Battle 2. Fight.
Got him.
Battle 3. Fight.
Nice. I'm dead. Yep.
Fight.
Yep. Give me that life lead back. I get fucked. I don't even gotta face you. He's so mad. I know he's mad about that one. Oh my fucking god. I know he's mad about that one. I know he's mad about that one. Feels good. Feels good to be the king. Man.
You said choices. I assume like a choice is usually something that I perceive as something a person actively chooses to do. When someone is being discriminatory and it's an unconscious bias, they're not actively choosing to do it.
Okay, can I
so
clarify something?
That
with
was
you?
like the.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Okay, are you saying that if I'm the boss and I see the black name on the resume, if I throw it out because I've noticed that most of the black people I've talked to lately are not good candidates and I just want the best candidate, that's not a conscious act of racism. But if I'm like, black people are fine
I disagree with you.
Well, I'm just asking you this. Okay, because you said you said it's not an intentional act of racism if I have some pragmatic reason for doing it.
That's
no,
a
no,
combo?
No, that's not what I said. I said
Okay.
that as far as I understand unconscious biases, you hear the black sounding name and then
Never mind,
all
it's
of the
not. I was about to
prejudice
say.
about black people come in, making that candidate less desirable in your
I was
eyes
looking at the wrong
without
set.
you labeling.
I think what I don't like about your
I think I
argument
know-
is the
I know
implication that people don't like black people for no reason.
I think
Like it's not so like waiting tables, a less loaded example. Black people tend to not tip very well, on average.
Wait, what? Is that even true?
And so even
Is that
back
even
servers-
true though? Hold on. I'm not even sure that's true. Do black people tip less? Uh, 20% less than whites in addition to West normal because of all races just like waiting on black people because they assume the tips would be less no matter with the service. Okay. They do tip less. But then again, on average, black people make less. Hold on. Hold on. Wages by race. What? Okay. That part. You know this side is trash. Let's see. Overall, for every $1,000 about a black person is making 800 ish. So the 20% less actually matches up almost perfectly, at least by Investopedia. Nightmares for babies. Get fucked, Kara, alright? Get fucked, alright? It's nice to be the king. It's nice to be the king. Anyways, as I was saying, yeah. The, what emote is that? I don't even... I think that was the first time we actually faced each other, too. To be honest. Haha, sleep. That's a pretty funny emote. Yep. First time we meet, and guess who wins, baby? Of course it's me, the fucking king. Bow down. Like, give me a sub. No, I'm joking. But yeah, GG's though. But yeah, like the 20% less actually makes sense.
The place I worked, everybody, and I started out very idealistic. And after maybe a couple months, it was like everybody was fighting, like, please don't sit them in my section. The black servers were much more forward about this, saying, like, I don't want these fucking black people. And then everybody else had to just, kind of, like, it was very uncomfortable, but money is money. However, it is also racist to do that. But it's not racist like my preconceived conceptions about black people are affecting me, making me not think that they're going to tip me less. They're actually going to tip me less. So what do we do about that? What do you do if
that's not the same as the resume,
Mr. Girl, that's very, very disanalogous because we're talking about money, which is like a dependent factor on people's survival, right? If we're talking about
so it's somebody like me who started out saying like, yeah, I'll hire anybody. Yeah, I'll talk to anybody. And then you block out an hour for this interview and this interview and this interview, and after enough interviews, you're like, Jesus Christ! It's like the black people are 3 or 4 times more likely to be unqualified for this job for some reason. And like, I don't want to be a bad person, but this is costing
the
me
research
time
about
and money.
the resume thing is. Sorry.
So in a hypothetical, at what point is it?
Wait. So we need to talk about something that's like obviously more analogous here, right? Let's kind of remove the monetary factor from the equation.
Well, I just used your analogy as the analogy.
No, you gave me like an example which is heavily reliant on people's needs for
say
survival.
I start out.
Let me offer you an analogy that's more analogous, okay? So you're a supervisor.
Said hiring black people.
Wait. Okay, so say you're a supervisor at a McDonald's, right?
Yes.
You are in charge of hiring practices. However, you do not own this McDonald's. The monetary factor is not so much at stake for you here. And you're just making a hiring
out of my
decision.
day, and my boss is like,
why you're interviewing white people, right?
Why can't we take his hypo?
Based on the same level.
Why can't we take his hypo? Your hypo was, what if it's costing you money and you don't have the resources to just, to do every interview? Is that your question?
It costs money to be non-racist. It costs
the answer
safety
is,
to be non-racist.
The answer is too bad. When you make policy, some people will suffer, and that's the cost of our policies. It could be the case that you would, you'd be more efficient if you discriminate on the basis of religion when you're doing stops in the airport. It could be that case.
I'm sorry.
Wait, I wanted to get in why my analogy is more analogous, right? Because my broader point.
Why not answer his?
I challenge you to answer my analogy. I challenge you because I don't like the stop and frisk example. I don't like that we can say like, hey guys, we found one example of a time racism didn't work and was like a bad idea. A lot of the times, racism actually is pretty practical. It does.
Your
make sense.
analogy, it talks about what I was talking about.
If I've ever
There's
heard
a lot of research when they just give a person that is in a hiring process 2 resumes that are basically identical, and they just change the name on it. That is the research. That is the data that I'm talking about.
Okay, wait. Let's think about the interesting questions. Okay, if racism is enacted and it doesn't achieve a good end, obviously every single person here says the racism is bad. That's such a boring. Let's ignore that, right? The more interesting question, because this is what we grapple with on a daily basis, is it seems like there are times in our lives where people act in a way that's racist or is discriminatory towards some other characteristic that we would like to not be, but it seems like there might not just be a reason for it, but even some level of justification. For instance, if you go out and you're at a bar and you're with a stranger and a woman offers you a drink, you might look at that a bit different than if a man offers you a drink. There might be some utility there to the discrimination. Or also, let's say that you are a server in a restaurant, and anybody that says otherwise has never worked at a restaurant before, okay, and can fuck off back to whatever you came from, okay? If you are a server in a restaurant, it is, especially Sunday mornings, it is the case that people have the impression of, and it probably is the case that black people don't tip as well as other people. Now, if that is the case, and there's some form of racism that you can enact, and it seems like there might even be a benefit to it, do you tell people, hey, even if you might have a heuristic that's serving you and is actually statistically providing you with good outcomes, should you act against that? That's the interesting question.
Yeah.
Okay?
And it's one you should answer this question, and the answer is that you're not factoring in the utility or the benefit of having equality writ large, and equality under the law or equality in people's perceptions. And that is a very, very positive thing about our country. Imagine that you had some policy, or that you knew that Republicans tip less, or you knew that Republicans were more prone to crime than Democrats. Would you ever think that it's conceivable to have a policy where, we always search Republicans more than Democrats, that would seem to sort of counteract our notion of equality for first.
Wait, that's a really good fucking tech trap. What the fuck? Because if you tech there at all... Hold on. I actually really like that. How much damage do you get with this? 70. 70. You get less damage? Huh. Oh, fuck. What if they don't Yukimi and they just block? No, they don't do anything there. They just get hit. And it seems like that's a force block. If I break guard there, hold on. That might be an awesome setup. Wait a minute. Ooh, we might be getting into advanced stuff. Advanced super setups. Fuck, hold on. Ah, fuck. If only. If only. Imagine. I can't do this, though. I hate it when that happens. I could. Hold on. Hold on. Such power. That also works, actually. What if I... Such power. What? What's that? I was too slow. Such power. New combos. Takes a while for my brain to get used to it. 81 damage. But if I'm not... Wait, isn't there... Oh, yeah! Also this. What's the combo I get here? Do you even, like, get anything with it? No, I don't know. What? What about, like, farther away? Okay, so it's not good 3. So weird. Wait, what if they Yukimi, actually? It's probably not a real combo. It's not at all. But what if they... What, half charged? Fully charged? It's hard to tell. What do I get here? Doesn't seem like it's a very powerful combo. I mean, you probably get some pretty awesome stuff on Terror Charge. That's not even that much damage, bro. Hold on. Meme combo? You can't even land on them with that. Of course, ring out combos. If you want to keep Terror Charge, and then get your OK. Oh, that damage on that. That's nice. Alright, back to listen.
First Amendment purposes, and certainly in the racial cases and in the sort of religion cases.
And I think you understand the societal level. The problem is society moves in like chunks, right? You've got like people, then policies, then companies. But the problem is we're asking the people to change potentially before the society does, even though that might not serve the individual. On a grander political experiment, I agree with you. Of course, it's better if we all move in ways. All of us should coincide both politically, ethically, legally, judicially, everywhere with all of what our moral values are. But there are going to be times in these in these different parts of society where some groups of people are going to be disadvantaged by doing so. And can you compel those people to act?
That's any policy. And so, Destiny, why don't you answer Mr. Girl's question? Answer Mr. Girl's question, Destiny.
No, I like watching you guys battle over this. This is fun.
If you had a store owner who is he cannot process all these applications in a fair way, it's just impossible. And you have if you don't racial discriminate and only look over the white people's applications, you go out of business. Do you say it's okay for him to discriminate in that case?
I think that I agree right now with US on the books that if you are an employer or if you are a landlord, like a building owner or something, then I think that you have a special onus on you not to engage in discrimination against certain protected classes, one of those being race. So I would say that, no, you shouldn't be allowed to participate in the labor market as an employer if you're going to engage in discriminatory practices, because that type of stuff will roll downhill in the worst way possible. Because as soon as one business owner says, I can only hire Asians for my data crunching firm, otherwise I'm going out of business, well, everybody's gonna be like, wait, hold on, well, fucking, I'm only hiring Asians. And then pretty soon those are the only people getting hired, or you know, through any industry. So I think there's a compulsion there, for sure.
Hold on, really quickly.
Hold on. This is why what Pisco said was important. He's trying to show y'all that when you say that it's not in law, but it's personal decision, effectively they can cause the same injurious outcomes. And that's what he's trying to get y'all to understand. And I would think that we would all say that even if we thought there was some utility to racism, we'd be against using it. This is why this is why there's applications of black people that have even better qualifications, but they still receive less callbacks because of this topic right here.
Wait, really quickly, please. So would we say that if someone were to let's say they had a sushi restaurant and they wanted the sushi restaurant to have an authentic atmosphere, right? So they were specifically looking for Asians to staff the sushi restaurant because they didn't want people to come in.
No, Asians correlate very highly with being Asian, but that's not fair.
Okay, yeah, but if
it's nearly
a black
100%.
or a white person, but if a black or a white person were to apply and they had all the skills needed to make the sushi, and you turned them away because they wouldn't fit the aesthetic of your restaurant, would we say that that's racist? That's racial discrimination that would be unjustified?
In that case, there's a so it would be the same thing if you're talking about a movie that's hiring a particular role. Or if it's like Hooters and you're only hiring women as opposed to men, even though there's differences in kind of our legal standards for the discrimination, what will pass muster and what will not. I think in certain cases, you can find cases where it makes sense. Okay, if we're going to have someone play Barack Obama, we're not going to look at all of the Asian candidates. And so you can certainly find situations where that kind of artistic choice or aesthetic.
So we'd call them actors or a cast rather than employees, right? Is what you're saying. So if I wanted a restaurant with blonde girls or big boobs staffing my restaurant, right? Black girls tend not to have blonde hair and maybe they have big boobs. Tend not to have blonde hair, right? So I would just get rid of all the black applicants, right? And only interview the white girls.
And not to have big.
I stopped myself. I'm sorry, but just a real
little
quick
racist
point,
so far. But
a real quick point on the names thing, right? If you look at the names that they use for this study, right? I think it's really interesting to kind of break them down because they chose names like Letitia, LaShonda, Tawanda, right? Names that I think a lot of people, maybe unjustifiably, would associate with lower class lifestyles, right? Kind of ghetto names, right? And they put those up against Amy, Hannah, Lori, right? Misty, right? So I think it could be that this was a class discrimination.
Wait, hold on, real quick before we spend any time.
Because really quick. No, I'm not. I'm almost done. Because if they were to put names like Cletus, Jim Bob, Billy Ray on there, I'm sure you could find people making the same assumptions about these people based on the applications. They came from a certain class that might not be good for your restaurant, for your business, whatever the fuck. You'd assume that they're like trailer trash types.
Okay, before we get too far off into that thing, okay, so that's the racism, though. That's the problem. Is we're essentially saying that, like, well, there are a lot of black names, and they're associated with being lower class, so maybe it's just a class issue. Well, no, that's a race issue, right? That's like saying every time I see a black person, I don't want to deal with them. You're like, why not? Well, it's not because I'm racist, it's just because I think all black people are poor. So it's a class thing. That's not how that works.
No, but wouldn't we make a lot of assumptions based? Hold on. Wouldn't we make assumptions about like white people, for example, from like white names that we consider to be lower class? Cletus.
No, because there's a
Jim
whole bunch of
Bob,
I don't
trailers
even
that-
think
Okay.
people.
Like-
I don't even think that's true though. Do people lower class? I don't even think. Does anybody name their baby Jim? What did he call him? Jim Bob? I forgot what it was. I haven't met a single Jim Bob in my entire fucking life. Maybe Cletus? Is Cletus a low class name? I never thought that. What the fuck? Hold on. Oh, there we go. Let me go.
First, just because I think all black people are poor, so it's a class thing. That's not how that works.
No, but wouldn't we
Right,
make a lot of assumptions
Yeah,
based?
exactly.
Hold on. Wouldn't we make assumptions about like white people, for example, from like white names that we consider to be lower class? Cletus.
No, because there's
Jim
a whole bunch of
Bob,
trailer
Billy
trash.
Ray,
Like,
yada
no,
yada.
okay.
Like,
First of all, even people in
course we
trailer
make
parks aren't
assumptions.
named Billy Ray generally, okay, right? You'll find a lot of people that have like relatively normal, like there's a whole bunch of white trash names that just sound like normal white people names, where people aren't going to see it immediately and be like, oh, well, that's just a white person.
I
yeah,
think
but there are a lot of them.
No,
when
no,
we
no.
hear them,
Let me-
and
can I-
it's-
can I-
they are
I'm going-
racist
No.
trailer trash.
I have to
No,
say
so-
this.
so,
I'm gonna freak out if I don't say it.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna freak
After
out.
Katie, then Mr. Go.
Jesus Christ. Okay,
Yes.
fine.
I'll start dancing if you won't let me talk. Okay, I would love to answer
That works for me.
Destiny's
all the time.
question. I think that, and I don't mean
Am I in the
this
air?
on an institutionalized level. So I think when we keep going back to, okay, you're saying no racist policies, but individuals like can still act in ways that would result in the same outcomes, even if you don't have the racist policies. I still see a clear benefit of like a country or an organization or whatever not have racist policies on their books, right? So that is always going to be a no for me, no matter what. In terms of the individual level, your question, Destiny, was like when and how should the line be drawn on that? And I think that when Prime gave the example of like me and Fawn crossing to the other side of the street versus the woman who called police on the black guy in Central Park, I think where the line is drawn is how detrimental it is to the person that you're applying the prejudice on or the bias against. So when I cross to the other side of the street, that might hurt a guy's feelings that I'm scared of him. But I think overall, if I get raped, it's probably worse for me, so I'm gonna take that one. If it's putting him, if someone is like, if you cross the street, I'm gonna shoot that guy, then I'm gonna not, you know? So I think it depends on that.
I don't think that makes sense. I don't think you can compare your fear of what you're imagining this person's going to do to you to what you're actually doing to them. Like I could say, okay, I cross the street whenever I see a black person because yeah, that might hurt their feelings, but if they cut my head off and like put it in the back of their car, that's going to be worse for me. Like if you can't compare rape, which you get what I'm saying?
Okay, then can you scrap that part and just address the main point that I said, if you want?
Yes.
I'll retract all of that. Never mind. No rape.
Well, okay. I mean, another thing is about that example that is interesting is that I've done these calculations, and the safety change in crossing the street to walk by a woman instead of a man is about the same safety of violent crime ratio of crossing the street to walk by a white person instead of a black person.
Okay, the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying
But
is
it is more
because
hurtful.
racism is bad. Racism is bad, but we can't determine why people do what they do. So we can sit here and talk about how we need to mind read to tell people not to be racist, but I'm like, that's not going to happen. So what we can do is not have racist policies on the book and then make societal changes that reduce unconscious prejudices in people so people will actively be less racist, whether they choose to be or whether they unconsciously
go.
That is my solution.
I think that's a good idea. I disagree about the part. You're welcome. I disagree about the part where we can't tell people not to be racist, though. I'm a messaging
I never
guy.
said that.
Well,
You can't
did
tell
say-
people not
you,
to be
you,
racist.
you just said exactly that. But let me explain my response.
75 damage.
I think that the way we tell people not to be racist is very pedantic and insulting and unempathetic. And I think that people will respond much more to, people like Doobie. They're going to respond better to saying, hey,
Not Twitch chat.
saying like, it's understandable that you want to throw out these black named resumes. Like, given your experience, or waiting tables, it's understandable that you don't want the black people to sit in your sections. And I get how that affects you financially and emotionally and psychologically. Rather than, you're a racist, ignorant, white trash piece of shit. How the fuck could you say this? I hate you.
I agree with you. Discourse should be completely changed if we want better results.
But in order
but I
to
never
do that,
said
we have
that being racist is shouldn't be called out, right? I'm just
No,
saying
no, you
I
didn't- I
can't
think you said-
discern people's intents, so I'm not gonna bother with that.
I think you said that you can't talk people out of being racist.
Yeah,
I think
you
that's what
did.
you implied.
I never said that,
No,
and
you
I
did.
don't think that's true.
Do you think you can talk people out of being racist?
I think you can talk some people out of reducing their conscious racist choices and biases. I
you can
think
talk
that
them
everyone are a little bit
meaningfully-
racist.
There we go. Jesus.
Do you think you can meaningfully talk people out of being racist on a mass scale?
If they are racist in a conscious way, then yeah. But I think everyone are unconsciously a bit racist about something.
Right. So
I'm
the
not
question I
racist.
wanted us to get at about earlier, though, is something I really thought was important to address with one of the questions I was trying to get at was, what do we do about the unconscious racism, right? Because that still has implications in our society today when it comes to hiring practices and things like that. How do we actually make a meaningful
As I
difference
said,
against
you
insults?
make
Yo,
social
Doobie's freaking me
progress.
out. You guys see this shit?
I think y'all are granting way too much. It is almost ridiculous to me.
Me too.
When
Me too.
y'all are giving way too much credence to this concept of unconscious bias. When people are committing these actions, they understand what's happening. It's a pure cope to act like they don't understand what they're doing. Oh, I'm just tossing the resume away. I don't even really understand what's happening in my head. It left my desk and went into the trash. No, these people absolutely understand the decisions, and that's why I said choices earlier. And you took some problem with that, but these people understand the choices that they're making. To try and
Who are these
like,
people? Is these all people?
Wait, I didn't say it was all people. I'm talking about the people that make the choice to discard black resumes just because they're black resumes. I thought that was clear.
But some of them don't make that decision because of the black. They do
my God.
end up making the decision to toss the resume out. But the point with unconscious biases is that they lead you to racist results. But the justification in your head are not, I just hate black people.
Well,
think
some are
what-
conscious and
I
some
think-
are
I think-
unconscious.
I think
Why
what
don't we
Gambit
just
is saying
focus
is
on
that,
what we're
like,
talking about?
an example of like an unconscious racist thing might be something like, I just assume that everybody wants straight hair or something, like a very white-centric, like you just assume that. And that's kind of like an unconscious racist thing. But when you're like, I'm not gonna hire a motherfucker called Tyrone. Sorry, that ain't happening. To call that like unconscious racial bias feels a little bit infantilizing. No, I don't know. Hold on. I'm not saying you didn't. Chill. I'm just saying that like. Okay, then don't correct me when I'm not incorrect. Okay.
Oh boy.
All I'm saying is that what Gambit is saying is it seems like we have this huge classification of like accidental racism when most racism is a little bit more overt than that. I think that's what Gambit is saying.
Yeah, but is that always a bad thing? Right. So like,
Yes.
Yes.
the example someone used earlier.
Oh, boy.
The example someone used
Doobie,
earlier.
doobie.
Right. So if I were a woman walking in Central Park, right, and this black dude
doesn't work all the
is
time.
this creepy fucking black dude is hassling me about my dog, right, and trying to call my dog over the phone, and I know that 90% of the rapes and murders in New York City are committed by black and brown people. Is it wrong?
Is this even true? I need to look this shit up because he's been citing this. Wait, rapes and murders, he said?
For me to and I know that 90% of the rapes and murders in
Okay, let's just look this up. Percentage of rapes and murders New York City by race. Oh. Let's see. Statistical Briefing Book, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency. Oh, juvenile. Hold on. Crimes by race, New York City. In New York City in 2015, blacks made up 63.7% of murder and non-negligent homicides, and 62.1% Hispanics made up. Okay. Them up. I mean, there's no number that I can find that support what you be saying. The closest I'm getting is this Daily News article. Hold on, can I? Rylan, how you doing? We're talking about some politics stuff real quick. It's just not sure if you were very into that stuff. Anyways, there's this guy trying to stay. Hold on, I just taking a little break from Rick. Yeah. Politics. I mean, if you watch my streams, I do politics stuff pretty often. But apparently, some guy's trying to say that in New York City, what was it? Goddamn, here it is.
New York. This creepy fucking black dude is hassling me about my dog.
Yes,
right, so if I were a woman walking in Central Park, right, and this black dude this creepy fucking black dude is hassling me about my dog, right, and trying to call my dog over to him, and I know that 90% of the rapes and murders in New York City are committed by black and brown people.
Oh, black and brown people. Okay. So he's conflating black people with the Hispanics and like other minorities as well, I guess. So it's just okay. I don't know. I just don't like that. Anyways, let's go back.
Is it wrong for me to have some kind of extra fear that I wouldn't have if there was an Asian dude doing it or a white dude doing it?
It's not wrong to have the fear, but you also included the information that he's creepy. So
yeah, you had it.
Yeah, I don't think it matters what his skin color is, what he looks like. If he's creepy.
Okay, well then is it wrong for that? Hold on. So would it be wrong?
It's a normal
looking guy is.
So I think Katie said
earlier.
Right?
I don't think we care what their color is. I just think we care that they're dudes.
A shit show, like 20 people trying to talk at once. Jesus Christ, calm down, everybody.
Please, no, wait, really quickly. Really quick. So Katie said earlier that she like intentionally forces herself to stay on the same road as like a dude like coming toward her just so she doesn't seem like racist or whatever the fuck.
No,
right?
not that I don't seem racist. To not enact racism.
Sure, but if a woman who was more concerned with her safety, let's say she was aware of these stats, didn't even want to risk the situation, right? Could we really fault her for going to the other side of the street? Like, she actually heard him?
I don't think that we have to. It doesn't have to be a binary of whether we're faulting her or not. It is understandable and also immoral, and so if she crosses the street,
I agree with
we can empathize with that. We can understand the practicality of that, and we can also be upset that it's racist. And if
is it immoral to put on your seatbelt when you get in the car to take an extra step to protect?
It's
yourself?
not
It doesn't hurt a black person's
really not
fucking
the same.
feelings when you put on your
How is that
seatbelt.
the
It's pretty
same?
similar.
No,
It's actually not similar
If
because
you
your seatbelt
assume
isn't a
that-
person. The seatbelt isn't a person, and a black person is. That's the difference.
if you
Is it unfair? I know we don't like labeling people stuff, but You are explicitly in favor of racist policies and racist attitudes. Why aren't you a racist?
That's untrue. So I'm not in favor. I don't believe that any racial group is superior or inferior. What I'm saying is that given the stats as they currently are, right? I think some of these policies might be justifiable. Right?
This is the thing that I don't understand. You support racist policies, but you just don't want to. You don't want to stand behind the stuff you're saying. It's just, I just really don't like it. If you support racist stuff, just admit that you're a racist. It's a lot easier to respect the argument, at least. I don't know. I just don't like it.
I'm not saying that
Seems
black people are
weaselly to me.
inferior or that they're more.
You agree that the stats they are the way they are because of factors outside of the race.
I think what he's asking, is instead of
I'm not saying. Oh God, Mr. Rowe,
here's the
one
problem.
second. I can tell you the problem.
I can help you.
You don't need help. I don't need your help. I love you. I love you. You're beautiful.
You know that you're in
beautiful, but I don't need your help. Okay, please.
Let him help
you. So what I'm saying.
You need my help.
I can fix
You need a PR guy.
1 second, please.
You need a PR guy, and I'm gonna take your case.
I would love that actually.
Okay,
really quickly. No, stop.
I said
please.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So what I'm saying is I'm not saying that these stats are the way they are because these groups of people are genetically predisposed to behave this way. There are obviously socioeconomic circumstances that have led to things being the way they are. Until we address those circumstances, this is the reality people are living in. So given that this is the reality, I think it's totally understandable, justifiable, not immoral. They could be totally morally in line with someone's belief systems to take themselves out of a potentially dangerous situation. I think it's totally fine. And if we can understand, no, I wouldn't. I call it prejudice, but not racist. And if we can understand, why a black person in the United States would feel some kind of way about being pulled over by the police or interacting with a police officer, given the stories that they see about police brutality and cops planting evidence and racism and all this kind of shit.
The stories
If we can understand that feeling leading to them making generalizations and having prejudiced feelings toward every cop they fucking see, I think we can understand why a white woman walking along in the park would have these same kind of feelings about a black dude or a Hispanic dude in the park.
So it's prejudice on the basis of race, but not racism. Is that correct?
No, it's not prejudice on the basis of race.
You said it was
prejudice based on the reality of the crime stats as they exist.
You're digging a hole deeper for yourself, my friend.
You gotta let me get you out.
I am on top of the hole.
This is what I do. This is what I do. Listen. Okay. The problem is.
You're in more trouble now.
The problem is that you are racist. Okay, and that's okay. This is the stance you have to take. You just have to say, if you guys are defining racism as unempathetically making practical decisions that hurt people of color because it's the most logical thing to do at any given time, and I'm weighting my own safety and comfort over the feelings of oppressed people. If you're going to say that's racism, then yeah, I guess I am racist. That's all you have to say.
But it's not logical.
And instead of it is logical. His logic is sound. The only reason it's not.
His logic isn't sound.
No, it is
His
absolutely.
logic is
Listen, let me finish.
Not very intelligent.
Hold on, let Mr. Go finish.
He told us a lot when he compared avoiding black people to buckling your seatbelt. Whether or not the statistical difference, whether or not yes, I know, but I want to unpack what that means. And I have like an emotional scuba mask that I can swim down into this, and I'm gonna find a little gold nugget and bring it back. What he's saying,
I need help with that.
I got it. I've got it.
Just let him do it.
It's not about intelligence. It's just strong stomach. Listen. What I'm saying is, when you compare a seatbelt to a black person, even if it's the same ratio as safety to danger, what you're leaving out in the seatbelt analogy is that the seatbelt isn't a person, doesn't have feelings, doesn't deserve an equal and free society the way a black person does. And so in Doobie's moral scale, he just doesn't weight that very high. And he weights it low enough that we are all in the panel willing to call him racist. And Doobie, what you're doing is you're engaging in a semantics debate, and it makes you look bad because it makes it seem like you don't understand what racism is, because you are racist, and yet you think racism is bad and don't want to be called racist. So I think I would strongly advise you to just say, if you're saying that my practicality here is hitting the threshold of racism, then yeah, I guess I'm racist. But I don't want you to think that black people are genetically inferior. I just think that the situation is what it is, and we should just let it play out that way.
I don't like the end of that distillation, because that implies that somehow we have an idiosyncratic definition of racism. Our definition of racism
we
in this
do
context
have an we do have an idiosyncratic
not
definition
right
of
here
racism.
as applied. I mean,
within this panel and on Twitch and among progressives, we don't at all. But in the greater world, most people think, well, if I'm not calling somebody the N-word and like throwing rocks at them, then I'm not racist. So I don't know what the fuck
I'm
you
sorry,
guys are talking
this
about.
is just nonsense. You think it's idiosyncratic to believe that segregation is racism?
Idiosyncratic by definition means unusual. And if you poll people across the globe in every different country and ask them if they share your definition of racism, they will say no.
I'm talking about Americans in America who would, I think, all agree.
Americans don't know that. I think there's a big debate right now about what the definition of racism
Should we include
is.
animals in our definition of who conceives what as racism? I mean, how broad are we going to go with this level of generality? I'm assuming that most Americans think that explicitly race-based policies.
I don't think including animals as a
what's wrong with women in America?
As a fake thing that I'm saying, mentioning animals makes sense. When I'm saying within the Twitch panel, it seems that 8 of us have a shared definition of racism. One of us has a different definition of racism. I think we can just acknowledge that. We don't have to talk about it for a fucking hour.
Ours is not
I think
Ours
Jesus
is more
Christ,
normal than
Doobie, fucking, you're freaking me out. I think that Doobie's definition of racism
Do the
is
time thing again.
I think Doobie's definition of racism is pretty common among Americans. You may have a different sense of that. I think it's better to just be bilingual. I understand Doobie's definition. I understand your definition. I like your definition. It's even my definition. That doesn't mean we don't have, we don't.
How do you know
don't
Doobie's is
understand
common or the majority? I mean, are you just pulling this out of your ass?
Yes.
Well, my definition of racism is what you'd find if you looked up the word racism in the dictionary, I think. But really quickly, so
But that's
Mr.
not
Girl,
the most common
Mr. Girl,
definition
I
on
need to
this
correct.
panel.
I need to correct a couple. Well, the most common definition on this panel is incorrect. Then. So,
no,
you said in my
different.
you said
Different.
no, wait. You said that I was that seatbelts were not black people. Black people in that situation wouldn't be the seatbelt. Walking across the street would be the seatbelt. A bad situation with a black person would be like a
No
car
one's
accident.
feelings are hurt.
Right, so
when
I'm
you buckle your
explaining there,
seatbelt.
right? What I'm saying there is getting raped or murdered by a black person, and that analogy that I came up with,
When you
or
buckle
metaphor
your
that I came up
seatbelt
with,
for your safety, you're making
correct.
it worse. When you buckle
What I'm
your
saying is
seatbelt,
that going across the street is the equivalent of putting on your seatbelt. An actual
the
step
bad
for your
part of
safety,
crossing the street
just in case
is that-
something bad
is that
happens.
the bad part of crossing the
That's what I'm
street
saying. Wait,
is
really
that you-
quickly, please. I'd like to.
Mr. Girl, please shut the fuck up. Oh my God. There's a panel of people. Let other people speak, please.
Just
Jesus.
finish my statement.
But you've already derailed.
No, I haven't derailed. I haven't derailed anything.
Let him finish, Doobie.
I think.
Oh,
I
God.
think that we can all, and Mr. Gray, I think you said this earlier, right? That we can all understand when a minority in the United States feels a certain way about interacting with the police, thinks that the police officer might be racist toward them, might beat them up, might plant evidence, yada yada, whatever the fuck, right? Even though if we look at the actual stats on those issues, it's a very, very small percentage of police interactions where any of that takes place.
How do you know? How do you know that?
I get where you're going. Can I
There are
respond
stats
now?
on this.
And
If you want to say that this might be happening, we just don't know about it. Well, go to your
I can
fucking
concisely
we'll pull out a
explain why
number
you're wrong.
and come back to me. But the numbers that I have access to.
What numbers are those?
The numbers
like
don't
less
matter.
than-
Your analogy
it's less
doesn't
than
make
a
any
percent.
sense. It
Right?
literally
No,
doesn't
I'm not
matter.
done speaking. I'm not done speaking.
I know, but
Please,
doesn't matter
please
what
let
else
me
you
finish.
wanna say.
Please let me finish.
There's 20 people speaking, bro. I can't.
When you all talk at once, literally no one can hear you. So
You just gotta mute some people, Prime. Jesus Christ, start muting.
it's
Fuck.
pointless. It's literally pointless. Doobie, here's what you're trying to say.
Ben, can I get in Prime?
I want to respond. He's impugning my analogy, and I want to respond.
You impugned my analogy first. It was my analogy.
It'll be very short. It'll be the shortest
Okay,
thing
listen,
you've ever.
listen.
Go ahead.
Shut up. Wait, listen, please. So what I'm saying is that we can understand black people feeling a certain way about interacting with police, not just black people, but any minority person in this country interacting with police. We can understand like the prejudice notions they'd have about that police officer. I think we should extend that same level of empathy toward a woman who walks across the street when she sees a black dude walking toward her and she's by herself. Right? I don't understand why, Mr. Gray, your whole thing is about having empathy for people, but you can't extend this empathy to that woman.
I'm extending.
Who might want to take an extra step. I don't need it right now. Who might want to take an extra step.
Oh, but you do.
To protect herself and just cross the fucking street. She's not hurting anybody by doing that.
That is that last part.
And one more last thing. I think Dylan keeps asking, what should we do to address this, right? Well, we should find ways to make so that 90% of the rapes and murders in New York City aren't committed by black and brown people. I think if that's stopping the case, people wouldn't have these prejudices or have these stereotypes in their head.
Okay, wait. Can I suggest something? Can we get a definition of racism for the panel?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna do. Wait,
we're
that's
like
exactly what I was gonna do.
Can I respond, Prime?
We're at 8 different levels of conversation right now.
Wait, I need to get in here. I just need to get in here.
This is why panels are trash. There's too many fucking people talking. This is why you only have like 6 people max. There's too many fucking mouths. Too much ego. Oh God, I hate it.
Because I need to address exactly what Destiny said there. I think it's important that Doobie brought up the fact that there was a dictionary definition of racism and that somehow his was it against the grace of Jah Almighty, okay? So when we look at the definition of racism, right, it's prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against a people or person or people based on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. So the policies that we're talking about here and the ones that Doobie seems fitting to enact are definitionally racist. Doobie, what you are trying to do here is make a case as for why racism's not bad, I guess, but that is exactly what it sounded like Mr. Girl was saying, and I'm going to roll with that. However, I think it's important that you understand that, yes, by definition, what you are trying to enact is racist. Thank God.
Okay, so you took the Oxford definition. Oxford sucks, okay? I go with Merriam-Webster because I'm American.
Stop.
Merriam-Webster definition, if you were to look this up, is a belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority. I'm not making any superiority claims. I'm not a white person. If I were to do that, right, I'd probably say that.
Wait, okay, hold on, stop, Doobie. You can't really believe that. I run around and I scream and I call every black person the N-word, but I don't think they're worse than white people. I just call them the N-word. Does that mean you're not racist? Because I don't think they're spirit?
Wait, hold on. There's...
Please.
Hold on. You can use a racial slur without being racist. I call people racial slurs all the fucking time. I'm not a racist.
Doobie.
I love everybody.
Doobie.
So yeah, if I went around and called black people the N-word with a hard R all fucking day, that you could take from that. You can make the inference that I'm a racist, but I don't think it'd be necessary.
Is it a racist act?
And I think making that assumption about me would be kind of rude, to be honest.
Doobie.
Is it a racist act?
Analogies are wrong.
No, not necessarily.
Explain why.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna give you. This is on topic.
Doobie.
This is time to talk, Doobie.
So if an Arab Palestinian were to call Israeli Jews a K word, right? Would we say that's a racist?
There's a K word?
Yeah, there's a K word.
There's a K word?
I'd say that could be justified, given the fact that they live under the oppression of an Israeli ethno state, that outlines specific rights for Jews above Arabs.
Doobie, I'm trying to help you.
The fuck was that?
Trying to get under my skin. I don't care about Israel any more than I care about any other country. I'm here to help you, and I need you to listen to me very carefully.
Wait, can I?
Doobie, the last part of what you said was, when you cross the street, when a black person is on the other side, you're not hurting anyone. And I implore you to understand that most people on this panel, I would say everybody, disagrees with that part. If that were true, then what you were saying and the stuff and all the analogies you're making would be absolutely perfect. If it didn't hurt black people when you throw their resume in the trash can, then that would be a great plan. If it didn't hurt black people when you flee from them when they enter a park, that would also be really great. However, it does hurt them. It hurts them probably in pretty much every way imaginable when you add it all up. But in the moment, it hurts their standing, it hurts their dignity, it hurts their feelings, it hurts them psychologically. It's not good. Trust me, having people be terrified of you and flee whenever you come near them it's not a good feeling. So I think that your seatbelt analogy falls apart there. The police analogy, we're not talking about, yes, we can empathize with black people who are afraid of the police. I can empathize with you being afraid of or wary about black people or people of color committing more crimes. I'm not saying that I don't extend you empathy when I advise you to just bite the bullet and say that you're racist by this panel's definition. That's not what I'm saying. However, a police officer does not have, in this country, we do not say that the police have the right to not have their feelings hurt. That's part of their job. That's why we pay them. Their job is to have a series of unpleasant experiences throughout their day, resulting in the rest of us be safer. Black people have not signed up for that. So it's not a good analogy. And what you should just admit is that the rest of us care about all this other shit I'm talking about more than you do.
I feel like maybe I'll use another not even an analogy, a comparison.
Please
to make it a little easier for you guys to understand.
You've
Make it a tiny bit easier.
Yourself?
A tiny bit easier for you guys to understand. Okay, where I'm coming from here. Okay.
We understand.
So we know. Wait, really quickly.
We understand.
We know.
do.
Right? We can pull the stats on this. We can pull the stats on this. That the vast majority of people who molest children are not actually pedophiles. Okay? They're sexual opportunists.
Okay.
That is absolutely the
I think I'm on Doobie's side. I think it's
however,
I think
hold on,
Doobie's
however,
right. The rest of you
and we know that the vast majority of people in this country. I think I'll pull this out in a second. But the vast majority of people in this country who are pedophiles, right, don't actually act on those urges, don't actually molest children. The vast majority of them.
10%.
So if a but even so, if a pedophile were to come to you, someone who you knew was a pedophile had these urges, even if they've never acted on them in their entire fucking lives, they came to you and said, "Hey, you need someone to watch your kid this weekend."
Oh, so your analogy is built on the idea that I don't empathize with pedophiles. Well,
so you're not empathizing with pedophiles.
Have I got some
you're not
fucking bad
empathizing
news
with
for
women.
You just walked into a minefield.
I love the minefield.
You done fucked up.
But I'm telling you, if we can say that it's understandable for a parent in that situation to say, "Hey, no, I can't leave my kid with you because I know you're a pedophile," even though vast majority of you guys don't do this, even though the vast majority of people that actually molest children are not pedophiles, I'm still not gonna leave my kid with.
I'm not even sure that's fucking true. I really don't. Oh boy. This is getting hard to listen to now.
With you because I'm making some assumptions based on you being a pedophile, right? Why can't we extend that same empathy
because there's
that we would have for that parent in that situation? He's making a prejudice decision to the woman who crosses the street.
Wait. All right, so we're gonna go to Katie. We're gonna kiss you. Katie,
I can respond to that really quick. Really quickly, and then Katie.
I like him.
You're taking information that you knew about the specific person you're being prejudiced against. Whereas in the situation with black people, you don't know anything specific about that person, and you're applying the same ideology. That's the problem.
That's a good argument. If you knew someone was 0% offending and was
No. Now I talk.
He knew the person was. He specifically said he knew the person was a pedophile.
Yeah, but someone being a pedophile, he's defining a pedophile as
black people
10%
pedophile because the pedophile has an internal urge to do a bad thing. And
stop.
Black person.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Yes.
No,
Guys, don't steal my point, please.
I hate you so much.
I'm happy that you brought the pedophile analogy.
Me too. Fuck, we're leaving.
I would love to talk about this more.
Oh, chinga su madre.
I can breathe now.
I don't know why. This is a thing.
A pedophile has a psychiatric
Can I be
condition
plus?
that makes them attracted
That
to
matters
creepy
once in my life.
people. Okay? That is, you can call it inherent, you can call it learned, we can discuss it. That is a trait that they have. The fact that black people that certain statistics correlate with people being black is not specific traits that they have.
Yeah, but he's not saying the attraction to the child is not the. But that's not the analogy.
No.
You have to relate it to
Hold on. Katie.
the probability of them actually hurting a child.
Katie, please.
That's what you have to compare it to.
I thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
So, you are comparing things like seatbelts that are inherently protective of a person during a like car crash, and being black, which has none of the negative properties that you're assigning to. You're saying being black correlate with A, B, and C, so why doesn't it make sense for me to make decisions based on that? And nobody said women aren't allowed to make the executive choice for themselves in that moment to value their own safety and cross to the other side of the street. It
Pedophilia is not the negative
prejudice.
trait there.
Shut up.
It's child
It is
abuse.
prejudice, though. And
All right, that's
as
enough
I said
internet.
before, it is dependent on the harm that it would do to the individual. So when you're comparing inherent
Did somebody
negative
leave?
qualities to being black,
GSU
that
Gambit
is
left.
disanalogous and that is racist as fuck and is very weird and makes no sense.
It's not weird or
It's
disanalogous.
literally not
in his
analogous
analogy,
at all.
in the analogy, pedophilia is not the negative trait, or it's the percentage
abuse.
chance of abusing the child that he's comparing to the percentage chance of a black person or
I
whatever person.
understand, and we can talk about pedophilia all you want, but
No, no.
he made a lot of points before
So, hold
that
on.
too, so
No,
I'm just
wait, no, no,
ignoring
no,
the
no, no,
pedophilia.
no.
You should
Girl's
either
point
reject
right
his
here is
analogy or follow his actual
He
analogy.
made
but
like
it seems
3
like you don't
analogies.
understand it.
All of them are disanalogous. I'm
No,
good,
hold on, wait,
thanks.
wait, wait.
not.
Let me help Mr. Girl, because I know he wants to jump in to defend pedophilia, but this is ridiculous. So the
Well,
problem
I'm
is
defending. I'm defending.
none of
truth.
that right
No,
now,
no, listen,
please.
I'm
listen,
defending
I can
truth and
I
logic.
can walk you through this, Mr. Girl. Let me
Okay.
save you. Let me put on my scuba gear. I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna rescue you.
Okay, come on in.
So the individual person in these scenarios, in one
Yeah.
scenario, it's a black person that you're walking across the street to, and you can say that there's some percentage chance racially that this
Yeah.
person could be a individual that would want to rob you
I'm
or
losing
something,
interest in this
right?
No,
conversation.
no. You've already
No,
dismantled.
I'm gonna finish.
We're
that.
saying there's some percentage chance this person will rob you.
Yeah, but obviously we're okay with discriminating on the basis of attraction to children.
No, no.
That's an okay basis of discrimination.
what?
No,
We're not
hold on.
generally
That is
okay.
a fine
Why is that
fine
okay?
example.
No,
That is
no,
a
no,
fine
I'm
response.
actually-
It's
Wait,
obvious.
that's a
Hold on,
totally
hold on. I'm
that is a
actually gonna
logical
finish.
response to
No, no,
Doopy's
I'm gonna-
analogy.
I'm actually gonna
yeah.
finish. I'm actually gonna
okay.
finish. Okay.
Okay, but
So with the guy on the other side of the street, you
Yeah.
have no real reason to think that he's. See, you tried to say that those things are equal. They aren't. You have no reason to believe this person is a person that would do that 10% chance.
they're if
Or
the
the-
person is black and black, let's make it really even. Let's say that every time a black person walks
we've
by
been
you
back
on
at
the
PSO
street,
too.
there's a 10% or say throughout their lives, black people 10% are likely to just randomly mug somebody on the street. 10% of them, they just tend to do this. So now we have our equivalency set up. We don't need to look at real statistics. So
And the answer is as obvious as it was. when
10% of
you stated it.
pedophiles
The
offend,
answer is as obvious as
10%
it
of
was
black
when you
people
stated
mug
it.
you while you
The
walk by.
answer is
Yeah,
as
so let me
obvious as it
help
was
you-
when you stated it. I
So
mean,
let me
it's
help
fair.
you with this.
One is
Let
an
me
Okay,
okay
so
form
help
of
me.
discrimination,
Hold on, hold
and the other is
hold on.
not an okay form of discrimination because we're more worried about discrimination against a racial
No,
minority
it's not even
than we
that.
are
It's
about
not even that.
discrimination
No,
against.
that's who?
No, Pisco, I'll let you
That is
argue that.
absolutely the case.
Hold on, I'll let you
Pisco's-
argue that next. Pisco.
Oh my
Hold on.
Pisco's
God.
argument is, I
Gambit,
think, the
go
only valid response to
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
but I will.
Yeah.
I want to hear
I'd like to
yours
respond to
anyway.
Pisco at some point.
So
Gambit.
listen, Miss Girl, in this situation with the pedophile,
Yes.
we know in Doobie's example, he knows that this person is of the class that could commit the action.
And
With
black
the- hold
people
on,
are
I'm
of
gonna
the class
finish.
that also
I'm gonna-
could commit a
Let him
mugging.
finish. Gambit.
So I don't think these things are analogous at all. Like
How?
you don't know.
They are.
No,
A black
so
person
the-
could mug you, and a
could rape a
pedophile
child, and
could
yes,
abuse you.
it's the same thing technically. Yes, it is.
So
Thank you, Dustin.
No, there's a difference when you
look,
So
Doobie's,
no.
you're letting
I'm-
Doobie fuck with your head
No,
because it's
you're not letting me finish. No, y'all just keep
No, but he's
interrupting me.
fucking with
I'm
you.
saying-
He's comparing black people to
Okay,
pedophiles.
alright.
Right
Oh
back,
my
Gambit.
God.
Don't let him interrupt you.
Yeah, Gambit, keep going.
Okay, so listen. Even if you first
I need
off,
to
somebody
speed
has
up
to
this
be
conversation.
somebody that
can't.
would rob, and then second off, they have to be willing to rob in that scenario. So
Okay.
you're gonna let me finish. You're not gonna talk right now. You're gonna look at me, but you're gonna just let me finish. Okay, so it's just like the pedophile situation. We wouldn't say you could look at all men and assume they are a pedophile, and then assume that 10% chance, if they were a pedophile, that they would commit this crime. You're making this assumption on the black person. The black person first has to be somebody that would rob you, And then it has to be, are they going to rob you? So there's two levels of this, right? There's a level of, will they commit a crime and will they do it now? The same thing is with men and pedophiles. It's, is this person a pedophile? And then if they are a pedophile, will they commit this crime? You're taking the second level of, this person is a known pedophile and they could commit this action, to the broader group of, I don't even know if this person would commit a crime. And you're making those two things equivalent.
Are you using pedophile as a
Wait,
child
I need to
molester?
explain this. I need to explain this to Gambit really quick. The thing that we're talking about here, though, is non-offending pedophiles, like Mr. Girl was referring to.
Yeah, I
right?
was
He's
gonna
talking
ask.
about child
Non-offending
abuse is
pedophiles like Mr. Girl.
Yeah,
Was
okay,
referring
right.
to.
Okay,
That's how he's
I understand that. Yep, Mr. Girl. Believe me, I'm trying to have you back here. So the difference is
I don't
knowing that
think
someone's
you
going
are.
to commit an action
I don't
is
think you
completely
should
different than
either.
just taking two corollary statistics,
Holy
like
fuck.
people being attracted to children, and then that automatically leading
Okay.
to
You
child
can
abuse
just
versus
ask
someone being
him.
a
Yeah,
black
can I respond to
Conversation
Gambit?
anymore.
The analogy would have to be, this is a black person that we have reason to believe will rob you. Because the pedophile, we have reason to believe that they may commit.
Alright. Let's just...
10% of pedophiles.
We're just gonna not. I'm done. Oh boy. I'm done with that conversation. We're just gonna chill in city for a bit. Wait, why is my... Oh, it's just her character model is just weird. Huh. Wait, what? So many people here. Wait, what dance is that? What the fuck? They stopped. I didn't get to impersonate. Yeah. Who do I have online to chill with? Vocaloid, Yodo. See if everything's solid. Most likely not, though.
Come again.
Wait, do I have any... No, I don't. I guess we'll farm some Calcundos. Maybe I can get a relic. Oh, fuck. I didn't change my voice. Oopsie. There we go. Come on, loading screen. There we go. And this was a person. Nice. Oh, his armor has stuff on it too. It's rarity 4 though. But no, this was rarity 5. Vios. Mix enthusiast. Alright, let's see. This one could probably be alive. We'll see. How do you lift that? There we go, perfect. Perfect. Also, let me turn on anti-micro again. Kind of important for this game, right? Very important for this game. Ooh. FPS, come back please. There we go. Maybe this one. Maybe? He's dead. Could fight a Dustle. Yeah. We'll fight the Dustle. Perfect. Just long enough. Even our wait time isn't that long. Eh? He's just there. Huh, alright. I should probably kill these launchers so they don't get in my way. That'd be a pain in my ass. I could use some bust. I need more skills and passives, honestly, for my hunter. I like using the fist, but if you're not maining fist, I'm not really sure if you do more damage, even with the counters and stuff, because of the 10% damage loss, and not getting the 15% bonus downtime. And you get the same bonus on hunter that you do with fighter if you main hunter but sub fighter. But I don't want a main fighter though. Yeah, I could go hunter gunner. It's probably just the best one, honestly, for the PP regeneration. To be perfectly honest. 5% extra during downs might actually be worse off because of the overall SPP. But I also don't really struggle with PP either. Right, time to fight myself with Dust Storm Hammer. Seems like I got company. Ow. Can I get my stagger, please? Ow. Held for too long. There we go, Jesus. Probably should have just done it instantly. Okay, hold on. This thing is irritating the fuck out of me now. You gotta die. Alright. I don't know. I kind of missed in base PS2 where you needed to grab the items. Something about like just when you kill something, the fucking items just going everywhere. It seemed cool. Now it just doesn't even make sense to even have them there. Plus, like, when you get like a rare, it actually shows up as like a rare item on the ground. And you get that, oh my god, I got a rare! What's it gonna be? We got like a golden rare, it was fucking sick. Alright. This one should be good enough. Oh, fuck. There we go. Yep, fighting him right now. Of course. There's a fortress launcher there as well. Ooh. It actually hurts. Holy, what the fuck? Okay. Instant transmission on us real quick. Get parried, bitch. Alright. There we go. I got your leg. Go. Alright, let's check. See if I can find a good spot to farm me some Kelkundos. Nope, hasn't spawned yet. Yeah, it could possibly be alive. It's probably close to dead, though. Dead. Yeah, they already killed it. Fuck! Who's in this room? I can't even see. I knew one of them was a fighter, so there's a very high chance the thing had already been demolished. Check out this room. Yeah. Okay, how about this room? Oh, yep. Probably should have went here first. Ow. Fighting Kelkundo. Are we not at 100 hits already? special scratches yet. Alright. You can raid in this room. It's been 11 minutes. Two-minute wait time isn't so bad. Add so much light to the area. Jesus, it's so bright. It makes the mag skin look white, actually. Wait, is their skin white? Hold on. Yeah, his skin looks white, I guess. Did they change? Huh. Wait, you can change how high up it is? That's so cool. I know that you could do that. Hey, saw me. How you doing? You could kill this guy with just counters. Oh, fuck. Ow, 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 ow. What do you whiff that? I'm right here. On to the next. You know what? Let's fight Lysentos. Kinda feel like doing that right now. Plus, getting a relic drop for a sword would be pretty awesome, not gonna lie. Although I would probably just sell it. Sell it for like 25 mil and then just give me a Griega 5. Might as well farm for the Prime Knight. I should probably do like mineral farming, like daily, to be honest. Because the older minerals are actually kind of hard to come by, and you still need them to upgrade stuff. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Damn, I broke them all in one swipe. Sword's got a lot of range. I fuck it. I'll let one escape. Just look at all these birds here. Wait, doesn't the veteran spawn here too? Yeah, I think one does. Are you kidding me? Oh, come on. That's one thing that I missed about the older version. Is that like you would actually go up higher a decent amount with the old spiral edge. But then again, that also kind of made it bad. Or hitting in the same spot. But also Hunter was also pretty bad in general, compared to Hero at least. Hero just had higher DPS. I think the swings alone would almost make Hunter higher, not Hunter, Hero higher DPS than Hunter in base PSO2. What? Wow. We gotta do something. Are you gonna attack? You're not. Too fucking. I don't have all day. Jesus fucking Christ. Hit me! Hit me! Time to farm ourselves a dose. But the animation for that is really weird. The fuck? Huh. Ooh. Gotta say, Eliza Toes. I can't see anything. Alright, hold on. Let's get you out of this corner. I do not feel like fighting you here. Over here, buddy. There we go, there's one foot down. I definitely pressed the block button there, but whatever. He whiffs the first attack and it makes me like, oh my god, and then I get hit the second part of it. I'm so mad. Fighting game tactics. Intentionally whiff first part to bait your opponent into letting go of grab. And then they get counter hit and then lose the entire round because I fucked up. Ow. Ow. Over here. Oh. Give me the other foot now. I've been working on it for a while now. These hitboxes are whack. There we go. Okay, come over here, big boy. Spin thing. There we go. Come on. Come here, big boys. Ow. Can you die? Can you die now? That'd be nice. Oh no. Skulls. Taking annoyingly long to kill. Feel a little too tanky. Fuck is that? Teleport away.
Welcome. Drop in again sometime.
Honestly, just waiting for the next scratch. I want that hairstyle so bad, so bad. Wait, what? I really want this? What the fuck? What's your mule looking ass? What the fuck is okay? Ah. Those are some big ass heels, Jesus. Where's the hold on? Yeah, this one. I actually really like this. This would be like my female fighter outfit, I think. No, what? Black person was? Yes, there is. You know what? Hold up. Let's see. Living where is it innerwear? No. Base wear, right? Oh yeah, slick mechanic. I don't really like that one either though. I think I'm changing Girl Kazino again. Wrong one. Wrong one again. There it is. races. Yeah, there's a lot at 500k. I think it was this one. What is that? Am I crazy? Oh, it just might look better in white. The highest priced ones. Ugh, disgusting. Look, another one with a tail. Pretty nice one. Yeah. I think this is the last one we're gonna look at. If I can't find anything better, we're just gonna go with the dissonant one. Aside, look at the outfit that I already got one last time.
Come again.
Alright. Yeah, we're changing this. Yeah, what's the difference between this and the other one? B. Oh, this is the male version. Is it just the color palette? This one's just black and black, right? Alright, we'll buy this one.
Come again.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. Oh wait, I should probably change the hair too. Maybe the hair can stay the same. Let's see what it looks like when you're fighter though. All right. All right, I think it's clear enough for the day. Got some matches in Soul Calibur. Finished the dailies in PSO2. Conversational in that panel was disappointing as always. Panels are trash. Don't even know why I reacted. Well, I know why, because there's nothing else to watch. But yeah, I think this is where we'll end the stream for the night, to be honest. As always, if you like what you see, subscribe to me on Twitch or support me on Patreon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel too, because I upload there every Friday. If you want to see some political stuff and some gaming clips, I do a lot of different stuff. Isn't really like a coherent thing. It's just memes. Sometimes discussions about random shit, politics stuff, when I deem it important enough to talk about, and things like that. So, if you enjoy stuff like that, subscribe to my YouTube because I put out videos every Friday at 2 p.m. I never said the specific time, but it's been the same time every time. I just never announced it so far. But anyways, yeah. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys